I'm going to talk about Lizzo's comments on veganism while I show you very quickly how I make my chocolate mousse, minimally processed, or as I prefer to call it, traditionally processed. So, by which I mean Nova 4, no Nova 4 ingredients, if you want to look up what Nova 4 means. And that ultimately I summarize Nova 4 as anything with ingredients or processing methods that were made after the 1800s. And so I'm going to show you how I make it the way people made chocolate mousse in the 1800s and before. Only ingredients that they would have had access to, that a person in the 1800s could have, at least theoretically, had access to, and with no chemicals that were invented after that. And that's what I mean by minimally processed or traditionally processed, like no chemistry lab ingredients, basically. And I'm going to show you how I make that. So I'm going to get I'll show you quickly. First of all, this is my cacao powder. I use this organic cacao powder. It's pure organic cacao powder, so no ingredients that are like, there's no added anything else. It's just cacao powder and pure and natural honey. Can you see? That's the honey I use, and I've got some sea salt for a pinch of sea salt if you want it. I'm really probably not going to put it in my chocolate mousse, but you can, so I brought it out. And here's the tub of Greek-style natural yogurt. This is pure Greek-style natural yogurt. There are no chemicals in this. As I say, it's just Greek yogurt, just plain old Greek yogurt. The brands don't matter, apart from as long as you just read the label. Does it have ingredients in it that are more than just what they should be? Then that's how I go. I don't really care about the brand specifically. And what I want to talk about is how I don't blame Lizzo for her. I don't have an opinion on her in general. I don't listen to that kind of music. I kind of only am approaching this from the point of view of what it says about like the society that she's from and the similar, not quite the same society I'm from with regards to food. I think her comments could have been said by anybody. This isn't about, I know Lizzo does make excuses with her sort of, she's got this psychological issues, obviously, it's very apparent, where she's sort of has hidden behind so-called veganism. It's not really veganism if you don't do it for the animals. If you still buy leather and animal tested products, it's not actually veganism, but she means just the diet part of the vegan lifestyle, just that. So given that we mean that for the purpose of this discussion, I think she is just like any other American who hasn't got, or Brit for that matter at this point, who really thinks that everything you eat has to have been prepared for you. And even when you think of making your own food, you put a bunch of stuff in it that's been prepared, whether it's the frosting for your cake, the chocolate that you put on something, or like my chocolate mousse here, or whether it's the sauce, the condiments, the mayonnaise. You just buy it ready-made. You don't think to make it yourself the way people had to in the 1800s. Just make it from only natural or sort of very minimally processed ingredients, like yeast and vinegar, which can be cultivated either in nature or in a kitchen or a farmhouse. Like, people use those ingredients. They used only like old-fashioned ingredients to make your frosting for your cake, to make your icing for your cake and your sprinkles. People don't even think. They just buy this stuff full of these disgusting 1900s invented chemicals, and that's everybody. That's not a vegan thing, but it's like she's only noticed it, and this is quite common when looking at vegan food, because with vegan food, I guess I don't know exactly why. I think it's because people look at the idea of vegan food and they think, well, it's obviously unnatural. But actually, if you look at the same, or if you're buying these convenience foods, which you didn't make yourself, it's all the same. Like the meat version of anything you put in a microwave that's already cooked for you, like rice and meal of some kind that you stick in a microwave, it's going to be full of the same kinds of chemicals as the vegan one, like the meat one and the vegan one. And especially if you live in America, in the US specifically, like Lizzo does, if you are not super picky about where you get your animal products from, they're going to be full of fucking hormones that they pump into the cows that would be banned in many other places, wouldn't be allowed here. Like, they're fed protein isolate from soybeans. They're not even fed hay. Like, you can feed them grass and then hay in the winter. Not even hay. They just ultra process the soybean and give them some like extract from the soybean that's ultra processed. So they're fed ultra processed crap, and that's wouldn't be allowed in the UK or in the EU. That's why we don't buy American beef or milk, because the vast majority of it wouldn't meet our standards, either animal welfare or the environmental stuff, the pesticides when they do eat grass, they're eating grass full of pesticides that are banned here, because there is a difference depending on where you live on how healthy any meat is in general, but that's just across the board. It still isn't a vegan meat thing. It's really not. Like, the ethical side and the health side should be kept separate, because the fact is, almost everything you eat, whether it's vegan or whether it's got meat in, doesn't matter. If you live in the US especially, and to some extent the UK, if you are not cooking everything from scratch, what you're eating is still full of plastic, as she said, literally plastic with the microplastics. That's a bit of a different issue, because that's more about the packaging. And I always wash like everything. I wash tomatoes even if they're organic, because of the plastic. I don't want the microplastics in my gut bacteria, messing with my gut bacteria. So it's not about it. It's the real problem that I think Lizzo's comments are an example of. She's not the only person I've heard reveal this underlying assumption that a lot of people in overweight majority countries have, which is that it doesn't even occur to you that you could make almond milk yourself. Doesn't even occur to you that you could make your own vegetarian version of chicken using only ingredients that people would have had access to in the 1800s and before. Creatively come up with a way to take those ingredients and make them into something that tastes like chicken. It's actually not that difficult. You can find recipes for this online. How to make your own vegetarian chicken slices, or how to make your own almond milk. You don't have to pump it full of the disgusting industrial chemicals, and that applies whether you're vegan or not. It's just such a shame that people assume that, I guess, because when you can buy like just a slab of meat, and that won't be ultra processed. It might still be full of chemicals and stuff depending on your country, like from when the cow was being raised, but it won't be full of chemicals after the cow died. Like, they won't pump it full of more chemicals if it's just like a steak. As far as I know, maybe they do, but like certainly like I know they wash their eggs in chlorine. That's not allowed here either. So but I'm saying like, all of in general, there are 10,000 industrially manufactured non-culinary ingredients approved for use in the US, only 400, which is still disgustingly too many, in the EU. And then the UK, at this point, we've left the EU, but the standards are pretty much going to be the same. Like, as far as I can tell, they haven't made any big changes. So it's going to be around the same 400, possibly exactly the same 400. I don't know. I haven't seen them lax on any additives, actually, in the UK. So let me know if you are aware of that happening. But the problem is that it's all about like, how much do you do your own home cooking, and how much of these chemicals are in the food. Even in France, where they're in the EU, they're allowed 400 of these disgusting chemicals in the convenience food. But first of all, the French cook more, as do the Japanese and the Germans, and bake more of their own bread. They're much more often will they bake their own bread than a Brit would. Maybe they don't do it all the time, but even when they buy the lazy supermarket bread, it won't have as many of the chemicals in. Even in France, you can taste the difference. It's so different. Like, even supermarket bread is much higher quality in Germany and France than it is in the UK. Even though we don't have all of the long list of disgusting chemicals in it, we have like more of it. Like, because the companies just choose to be a bit more concerned about quality in France. It's part of their culture. The culinary culture is much stronger. They care about quality of food more, even at the corporate level. So they don't feel it as much, which is why the French have stayed so slim, and the Brits have definitely not. It's a mixture of they cook more, they bake more, and even their lazy convenience junk like sauces and stuff, when they do choose to buy that stuff, it's still not quite as ultra processed. It hasn't got quite the number of disgusting chemistry lab ingredients in it. So Lizzo is just revealing that. So this is my natural yogurt that I'm going to make the mousse with. And I've got a nice spoon here. And this comes to, I'm just used to how much it is. It's about, when I weighed it, I put in about 200 grams worth. It came to about 200 grams that I'm putting in. So I did weigh it first to find out what I was using, and now I just sort of go by eye. I can just sort of tell. And then there's this, as I say, natural organic cacao powder, all pure cacao powder, no added anything, no added any kind of like stabilizer or anything. Like, they have so many weird chemistry ingredients in some of the cocoa or cacao powder you can buy. And then I just sprinkle, can you see? I sprinkle my cacao powder onto the yogurt, and then I put a big spoonful, or sometimes two, it depends how it tastes. I put that big spoonful of honey in there, and then I mix it all together. Oh, it's so delicious. I love chocolate mousse. And and this is the thing, this is where it's relevant to what Lizzo said. It's how many people in my country, in the UK, most people would never even think to make their own chocolate mousse anymore, except as a special occasion. Like, it just doesn't occur to people that can be your normal. Not just like let me try and make a chocolate mousse no, like that should be like any time you want chocolate mousse. I think it's worth doing it yourself. If you really want chocolate mousse, make it yourself, or just don't eat it. That is my personal rule for myself, and I think it's good for like the boycott, the sort of activistic, like we should be boycotting all these chemicals so that they stop using them. It is working in the UK, but the thing is, like, how can we have a boycott when people don't know? Like, it hasn't even occurred to people. You can make your own almond milk if you want almond milk. I buy almonds in bulk. I don't use it to make almond milk because I say I'm not vegan, so I actually use like just whole organic milk when I buy milk. Well, I buy big packs. This was originally a big pack of almonds and cashews. But if I need them for anything, I use them to make my pesto sauces. I use these nuts for various recipes, ground up or just dipped in honey. And then I like to dip like peanuts. I've got peanuts, like not salted and roasted, just raw peanuts. And I like to roll them in honey. And then I coat them in the chocolate to make my own peanut chocolate treats. I can't remember what they call them. You can buy them in a packet and they're full of disgusting chemicals, right? When you buy your peanuts in chocolate, make your own peanuts in chocolate with honey and cacao powder and peanuts and almonds. You can buy in a big bag so that you get more economies of scale. It's cheaper than buying lots of little bags. And this is like such a cheaper way to eat. Honestly, it works out cheaper because, first of all, you're not as hungry, so you don't waste as much money on food. When you don't ruin your gut bacteria with all these horrible chemicals invented in the 1900s in the convenience food, you don't want to constantly eat all day, just shoveling food in like a machine, like an eating machine, which is how I used to feel when I ate food full of chemicals. Now I think it tastes better. The food I make myself tastes better, and yet I don't have this weird thing of where I can feel like I'm a bit full, but I want to eat more anyway. Like, and it's because my gut bacteria are not all screwed up, and they're not releasing. I don't have the wrong bacteria in my gut and my biome as well, releasing chemicals that mess with everything, mess with your insulin and your blood sugar levels, mess with your brain, mess with all the chemicals that are released in your gut from bacteria. They have to go somewhere, and they go everywhere. They go all over your body. They go into your bloodstream and go to every organ in your body. So you need your gut bacteria to be the right balance of gut bacteria. And all these chemicals, this cocktail of chemicals, ruins that. Lizzo thinks that that's just a vegan food thing. No, it's probably almost everything she's ever eaten. As an American, she is likely an American who has revealed by her comments that she does not believe in cooking and baking your own food, because there's no way she would think vegan food was plastic unless she was only eating like convenience food. That's the only reason you'd come to that conclusion, right? So she is someone who's likely never in her life eaten real bread. She's probably never even doesn't have any idea what real bread tastes like. She's probably only eaten supermarket US bread, which is like 99%. I guess I'm like making up, but it's a long old list of chemicals on American bread. And it's ridiculous. Most of those chemicals, I say 10,000 of them versus 400 allowed here. So most of those chemicals wouldn't even be legal in the EU or the UK. And they are so foul tasting that they have to add all this sugar. All the added sugar in American food and salt and sugar are added to disguise the taste of those chemicals. It's not because they're addictive. Sugar isn't addictive. Salt isn't addictive. The reason they add that stuff is not because it's addictive, it's because they have to disguise the taste of the chemicals, which are actually the things making you feel too hungry. And they make you feel too hungry not by making it taste better. It doesn't taste better. When people from my country or Japan go to America, we think everything tastes disgustingly sweet, like the bread. Why is the bread so sweet? So it's not like sugar inherently tastes better. That's not the motive. It's not because otherwise every corporation in every country would do it, but they don't. It's just America. And the reason it's just America that puts so much sugar and salt in everything is they are using it to disguise the taste of the real problem, which are all these chemicals invented in the 1900s. Not sugar, not protein, not fat. Well, some kinds of fats are ultra processed, like the anything that's not extra virgin oil or cold pressed oil might be horribly ultra processed. So any oil that doesn't say it's extra virgin or cold pressed, that's going to likely be a horrible oil made in a horrible way with residues of the process in it that's going to ruin your gut bacteria and stuff. So yes, some fat can actually just be, and the same with like modified starch, modified protein. These are ultra processed ingredients because they're modified versions. But like the amount of protein, the amount of carbs, the balance doesn't make that much difference because all people around the world have different balances of their macros. What matters to make them fat or not is the chemicals in what they eat and how many of the chemicals they have every day. So Lizzo doesn't seem to know this, that she can make, it doesn't matter if you're vegan or not. I'm not telling her to go vegan again. I don't, it's not about that. Or if I did, I believe in like vegetarianism for ethical reasons, but that I'm never going to talk about that on this channel because that's not what this channel's about. And it's a separate issue. It's just so unrelated. It's completely unrelated to me. The health versus the ethical stuff. So for me personally, I was not like offended as like, she thinks it's bad to be vegetarian or vegan. I was just like, it's so sad that she's raised in a culture where it would never occur to her that she could make her own almond milk, her own margarine out of, like, as I say, extra virgin cold pressed oils. Maybe if she really wanted margarine that much, I don't think I would ever. If I was vegan, I just wouldn't bother with margarine. Making it yourself can be done, but what a pain in the ass, right? So I have butter. I've like just pure like organic butter and stuff, but. Like, so basically, yeah, that's my point. Don't hate on Lizzo. This is the chocolate. It's not very chocolatey looking. I think I need to put more cacao powder in to make it really nice. And look how delicious that is. And as I say, a big old spoon of honey. And I eat this sort of stuff every day. I've got a cold porridge in the fridge, which I've made with honey. And, no, I haven't put honey in yet. Just the milk and the 200 grams, 20 grams of the porridge oats. And then I like to use just over 100 mils of milk is the sweet spot for me. And then I put it in the fridge. And then I mix it with cinnamon and honey usually, or other things, maybe the cacao powder, maybe put strawberries. And I make all this stuff, and I eat this every day as my maintenance. I'm now maintaining my weight after I lost around 30 to 40 pounds in 2024 because I'd gained a load really quickly, and then I've lost weight and also body recomped, and I'm gaining muscle and I'm looking healthier. My skin is better. Everyone says that knows me, like, I look so much healthier than I did, and they don't just mean my weight, they mean everything. They mean this look in my eyes. I've been told my eyes look brighter and stuff. My eyes also don't have horrible autoimmune disease in them anymore. Like in every way it's got better, and it's while still eating these what other people think are bad foods, but they're only bad foods if they're full of chemicals. If you buy them in a shop, they're bad. This is the rule. You buy it in a shop ready-made, it's likely full of terrible chemicals. If you make your own chocolate mousse, it can make you fat if you eat too many calories over the course of the day. But mine fit into my calorie balance. I've been maintaining now and bouncing around a little bit because I'm trying to figure out my body composition. I'm trying to increase muscle mass. I'm trying to figure out how much do I want to eat as I'm building muscle. And so I'm bouncing around a little bit, but I've not gained more than like, I haven't I'm nowhere near overweight at any point basically, and I'm like bouncing around a little bit, but that's to be expected. That's part of the normal like figuring stuff out and gaining muscle. But I am, and at the moment I'm really hovering around a couple of pounds, which seems like that's probably going to be where I'm going to stay because I think I'm doing pretty good with my muscle definition and stuff. And so this has been months and months. This has been how long? Probably over a year. It's probably been over a year. Actually, yeah, let me work this out. When did I actually reach my sort of basic goal weight, which was a vaguely defined thing? I think it's been about a year, and I have maintained my weight with some adjustments here and there, gaining muscle, because at first I lost a bunch of muscle because I didn't know exercise until like I got towards the end, where I felt like my body wasn't like as like difficult to. It was not nice to try and exercise when I had a morbidly obese body fat percentage. I had 36.3% body fat percentage and a BMI that was like just under overweight and at one point exactly overweight because I've got weird like tiny bones and stuff, so that's how that works out. And then I've actually maintained eating like this, and so I don't think it matters if you're vegan, if you cut out cakes and chocolate mousse and you cut out cookies, or if you make your own. I think all that matters for health and all that matters for health is that you don't eat ultra-processed food. So you make your own cookies from scratch. You make your own chocolate. You make your own frosting for the cakes. You make your own chocolate mousse from pure ingredients your ancestors would have used. That matters for health. And for weight maintenance, it's ultimately calories. But being healthy really helps you maintain the right calorie balance. Because when you have a perfectly healthy gut microbiome, it doesn't make you want to overeat. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say for now on that. This is my chocolate mousse. Mmm.